brightly beams our Father's mercy from his lighthouse evermore.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Historical Association of South Haven's program celebrating the transfer of the deed to the South Haven South Pierhead Light from the United States of America to the Historical Association of South Haven. Thank you for joining us for this historic moment. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Gary Horton, President of the Michigan Maritime Museum. Gary has been an unofficial spokesman for the light for years, has an educational program he presents to entertain and inform audiences about the light, and has agreed to provide a short history of the light for you today. Gary?
I'm going to start off with a little story about happened during World War II off the coast of Nova Scotia. If you think for a minute, it's a dark night, it's foggy, can't see too far, and we look at the radar on one. There's two lights out there at that time, and on the ship we look at the radar room, and there's two blips on the radar, and they seem to be converging. So one of the they went on the radio and they said, excuse us, attention please. We're a large boat and we looks like we're on a collision course. We'd like you to move port side 10 degrees. And they wait, and there's no reply. Now they're getting closer. They get off the radar. The captain goes topside. You can actually see the other light. They seem to be heading right towards each other. And they radio again. They say, you must move. You must move. We're official boat of the Royal Canadian Navy. There's no reply. Third time, they're even closer. Captain says, you must move. We are a destroyer. We are fully armed. It's a time of war. You must get out of our way. There's silence again, and all of a sudden, a reply comes, well, we're a lighthouse. The moral of that story is, don't mess with the lighthouse. Actually, the lighthouse in America goes all the way back to George Washington, who had a special interest in lighthouses. In the first session of Congress, lighthouses were brought up as a subject. There are currently 400 lighthouses on the Great Lakes and 124 in Michigan. And of those 124, 4 of them have catwalks, and we have one of those. This is the light that you can see, and that's why this spot was picked. I think you can see right off that way. Was the second lighthouse in South Haven, replacing a 30-year-old original light that was made out of wood, or the stanchion was made out of wood, and that worked for about 31 years. And then this light was built in 1903. And it was assembled here on the end of the pier. It came by ship in sections and it was assembled. And it had 3 parts, really. First was a cylinder that rose up. Then there was the top ring, which you can see to this day, that black ring that goes around the top. That came from, the cylinder was new. That was new fabrication in 1903. But the top part, the ring, actually came from a lighthouse in Muskegon, and Muskegon got a new lighthouse in that same year, 1903, and we got the top of their old lighthouse, and they said it was cast iron. It was cast in France. We couldn't, at the time, cast anything that large in the United States, so it was shipped down here, and in the newspaper article about it said it would last another 100 years at least. Well, so far it's lasted an additional 109 years, and it's still there and still in use today, but it is a used ring around the top that we got from Muskegon. And finally, the lens and the light itself was a 5th order Fresnel lens, and that was in the old wooden light, and that was just transferred along with the cupola to the light that you see today. When it was originally installed, the light was 36 feet above the lake level. Depending on the water level, of course, it's about 36 to 40 feet today, maybe more, because the lake's down considerably. It was about 12 feet in diameter at the bottom, and it goes up like this to about 8 feet at the top. It was originally painted white, and it was also cream or yellow colored, I'm not quite sure which. And then at some point in time, I don't know the exact date, but it was painted red, and it was part of a Coast Guard order that channel lights be red on the port side, so it's red right return. And I believe all channel lights now are red, towers are red on that side. Here's an interesting thing, because it's been a constant problem as long as I've been around South Haven, and that is graffiti. I'd like to report to you that this is not a new problem. In 1906, a fence was ordered and put up around the lighthouse to solve the graffiti problem. That they couldn't seem to stop that. So that's not a new thing. We can't blame the young hoodlums of today. Evidently, there's been young hoodlums for years. Originally, there was a hand-operated foghorn, and in 1913, a 1,600-pound bell was installed on the outside of the pier, and that lasted for quite a long time, because in 1937 another foghorn was, and this is the one I'm familiar with, not that I was there exactly in 37, but I remember as a kid growing up, and that one went like this. Beep. Waited 3 seconds. Beep. Then it waited 23 seconds, and it went beep. And that meant that's South Haven. So if you were out in the lake, that was peculiar to our particular port, and you knew where you were if you were on a boat or something. The pier was, the light was, electricity was brought to the light in 1923. And this light was served by 5 lighthouse keepers. There were 6 lighthouse keepers in South Haven, but the first one missed this boat. And of course, the one that served the longest was Captain Donahue, the lighthouse keeper who had one leg that he lost in the Civil War and was